Hello and welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia, Sachi's route. In the last episode, Yuuji was puzzled about what Sachi uses her spare time to. As it turns out, following her around for an entire day, she actually doesn't have any. And she haven't got a single answer wrong from any of the teachers in the time at her Mihammer Academy. She also have never said no to a request, at least not while in the school. Let's continue. Good morning, Kasami-san. I entered the classroom a little before the time we agreed to meet. Sachi is already waiting inside. You showed up?
Well, yeah, we did have a promise.
So we did.
Anyway, you came in uniform? Really? We really are class rep to the core, aren't you?
To quote the school regulations sections of the student's handbook, in general, wear your uniform when making use of the school's building facilities.
I see.
I'm pretty sure Sachi is the only one who's ever bothered to read the fine print on the back of that booklet, but fair enough. Or should I have taken this opportunity to develop a more distinctive style? Perhaps following Michiru's examples with dyed hair and fashionable personality?
To be honest, I'm having a hard time picturing you as a bleach blonde tsundere.
In that case, I think I'll spend my summer vacation just as I am, if you don't mind.
I'll leave that to your discretion. Anyway, I guess the first question is how we should go about testing you.
I suppose we'll begin with the kissing practice, yes?
Please give me a coherent explanation of how you arrived at that conclusion.
My apologies. I thought being all alone with a younger girl might feel somewhat awkward for you, so I was attempting to break the ice as best as I could.
Appreciate the thought, but your jokes tend to have the opposite effect.
How very strange, coming from you, Kasami-san. Such criticism truly stings.
Things have already taken a dubious turn, but there's no going back now. Alright, I guess I'll choose from questions from material we'll probably be learning in the fall. Feel like starting any subject in particular?
Well, let's see. I did spend some time studying mathematics yesterday in preparations.
I see. In that case, let's start with math and see how far you can go in a day's worth of studying.
Yes, by all means.
Alright, next up is a square root problem. Think you can handle it?
Would this be the answer?
Correct.
As soon as I start actually offering her problems, I'm startled all over again by Sachi's academic skills. All the questions I'm giving her are from the sections of the textbook we haven't learned in class yet, and she's solving them with apparent ease. That doesn't change when I start mixing in my own original problems either, so it's clear that she didn't just mindlessly memorize the textbooks.
So what, did you study this yesterday as well?
Yes, I did indeed.
Just how much did you get through?
Let's see, I believe it would be fair to say that I've reviewed everything in this textbook from start to finish. Sachi delivers this line with her usual calm smile, but if what she's saying is true, she mastered nearly an entire year's worth of material in a single day. I guess that would explain how she's been answering problems we won't be looking at for months so easily.
Just for reference, what time did you go to bed last night?
I believe it would be fair to say that I didn't.
You pulled an all-nighter.
Plausible in Sachi's case, but I've got one very simple question.
Why did you feel the need to try that hard?
When faced with the test, isn't it only normal to study diligently in order to secure satisfactory result?
Sure, but that's hardly a reason to stay up all night.
Is it really? In an admirable display of dexterity, Sachi tilts her head to the side in confusion even as she is nodding her consent. I had a similar thoughts about her ridiculous daily preparation for class, but this only confirms my impression. The girl puts unbelievable effort in the flimsiest of reasons. True, you can wrap everything up by just calling Sachi diligent by nature, but I have a feeling that behavior has something to do with why she is in the school in the first place.
Well, whatever the case, I have to admit you have taken me by surprise here. I didn't expect you to be quite this impressive.
Then it seems my effort was indeed rewarded.
Yep, I'm pretty sure the range of problems you've solved already would be more than enough to amaze the others.
Does that mean our testing is now over? Michiru and company asked me to find Sachi's limits. As long as she's continuing to answer the questions correctly, it'd be premature to end the testing.
Well, as long as it's alright with you. Mind playing along a little longer?
Not at all. By all means, play with me to your heart's content.
Are you doing this on purpose?
By the time the sun touched the horizon, Sachi had worked her way into questions from next year's math curriculum without a single mistake. And so we agreed to suspend testing for the evening and continue tomorrow. Good morning, Kasami-san. When I return to the school grounds after my daily running session, Sachi greets me with a broom in hand.
Sweeping the courtyard today, I see.
Yes, as summer vacation has now begun in earnest, I thought I would take the opportunity to conduct a general cleaning of the school grounds.
Not that diligence is a bad thing, but it feels like you're in the middle of some chore every time I run into you.
If you'd prefer me to be a bit lazier, I can slack off within the range of permissible for a class representative.
Are you really capable of that?
Well, so long as you grant me 3 months or so to ascertain the appropriate boundaries first.
In that case, I think I'd rather see you working hard like always.
I'm rather glad to hear it. Incidentally, I have a little something for you, if you'd like. Trotting over to a bucket full of ice sitting in the shade of a tree, Sachi retrieves a bottle of water and brings it back to me.
You had this waiting for me?
I knew you'd gone out for your morning run, so yes, I was presumptuous enough to prepare refreshments.
I see. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Please don't mention it. With a few words of thanks, I accept the plastic bottle from Sachi, then drop myself onto a nearby bench and quickly gulp it down.
Tasty.
It looked like a plain bottle of water, but there's a bit of lemon juice and honey added for flavor. Another thoughtful touch on Sachi's part. Typical that the girl didn't say anything about the extra effort she put in.
Why not mention it? Might have gotten some of that praise she likes so much.
Considering her request for compliments, Sachi doesn't exactly flaunt her compliments. Then again, that clumsily selfish side of her personality is probably part of what makes her impossible to dislike. As I'm pondering these matters, Sachi returns to her cleaning. Snips and snails and puppy mash, all in the combustible trash. Might not set your heart on fire, but it'll burn nice on the pyre.
Hey Sachi, can you maybe give this particular song a rest?
Oh? Worried about it getting stuck in your head?
No, to be perfectly frank, it doesn't really work for you.
A maid cheerfully singing gruesome jingles as she cleans up is just too surreal. But Margaret specifically stated, I'm releasing this song under a Creative Commons license, so make sure to sing it when you clean. I'm merely...
Right, I get the picture.
Looks like I'll have to take this up with a budding songwriter.
But either way, you really seem to enjoy sweeping.
I suppose so. When I was young, my mom and dad would praise me for cleaning the house, so I've always thought of it as something like my special skill.
Your parents sound like nice people.
Yes, I love them both very much. Past tense, huh? This is the first time I've heard Sachi talk about her parents, but her expression visibly softened when she mentioned them. Even putting aside her pathological honest personality, you could tell from a look at her face that she's not lying about how much she loved them. Come to think of it, I did have one other acquaintance who enjoyed cleaning up, although that was a long time ago. Come on, what does it look like I'm doing? I'm picking up the trash. I mean, next time I come here to play, wouldn't it be nicer to find the place clean? She was the sort of kid who'd actually go around picking up the garbage scattered around the playground after playing. I think she was younger than me, but her sheer energy and forceful personality made it feel like the opposite. The girl was a genuine tomboy, constantly laughing and running around. Pretty much the polar opposite of our docile maid like Sachi. Is something the matter, Kasami-san?
No, it's nothing.
I see. But still, it's pretty unusual for me to remember something from before I met my master, since my memories before that point are pretty much all ones I'd rather erase from my mind. In the otherwise quiet classroom, the constant movement of pen and paper is the only real sound. After lunch, Sachi and I picked up the testing where we left off yesterday. Kasami-senpai, what do you think you're staring at? Sachi suddenly covers her chest with both hands, if only now realizing that I'm watching her. Jeez, you were so insistent about testing my academic ability or whatever, but maybe you're really after something else entirely? Continuing in the same tone of voice, she offers me a coquettish smile.
And what if I am?
Alright then, if you absolutely insist, Kasami-senpai, I guess I'll teach you about girls. Spurred on by the intimate atmosphere of a one-on-one meeting, a younger girl summons up her courage and makes a flirtatious approach. Normally this is exactly the sort of gift horse no red-blooded man would think twice about accepting, but wonder why I'm not even getting even slightly in the mood. What? You've got an adorable underclassman bravely throwing herself at you here. Isn't that a little harsh? Okay, you can stop the act. Certainly. Once I give the signal, Sachi's attitude snaps instantly back to normal. Was my ability as an actress unequal to the task after all? No, if anything, I think you were a bit too convincing. If I didn't know Sachi, I'm pretty sure I would have bought her that as a real personality. But since I do, the contrast was kind of bizarre. In other words, casting aside my sense of shame and diving wholeheartedly into the role actually backfired? Do you have any sense of shame to cast aside in the first place? What are you saying, Kasami-san? I'm the very model of a shy young lady. Not sure if I agree with you there. In my experience, shy people don't generally take their clothes off in front of others. But that's hardly anything to be embarrassed about, is it? Does she seriously believe that? The girl's definitely something else, although in this case that's not necessarily a compliment. More importantly, may I ask why you requested that I resume the role of a slightly selfish underclassman who knows how to tickle the hearts of older men? Right, I guess it was sort of my modest attempt at getting back at you for coming so well prepared. Was it wrong of me to study for the test? Well, the point of this is to determine the limits of your academic ability. The more you study, the more those limits go up, right? At this rate, the testing might never actually end. I see. So that was your point of concern. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm giving her problems even harder than yesterday's, and she's still working her way smoothly through every question. I do apologize. I hadn't even considered the possible inconvenience. No, it's my fault for not saying anything about cramming beforehand. Just try not to approach this quite so seriously from now on. Yes, I understand. I briefly drop my hand onto Sachi's head as we speak and soon receive a smile in return. Incidentally, I'd like to ask you something, just for reference. What? Would I be correct in concluding that your specification for that performance aligned with your taste in females? No, it's just that the younger woman I've known tended to act something like that. So why haven't you assumed such a personality? Well, when I was talking to you in the courtyard earlier, I remembered one in particular. It struck me that this girl was pretty much the exact opposite of an obedient maid type like you. Sachi, I got kind of interested in seeing if you could pull it off. Well, if I'm being perfectly honest with myself, the part about tickling the hearts of older men might have been tacked on for other reasons. In other words, the request was motivated by simple curiosity? Yeah, so anyway, that's not particularly my type or anything. I see. Apparently satisfied with my explanation, Sachi closes her eyes and nods deeply. That's a very familiar gesture, but it's rare for her to ask this many questions of me in the first place. By the way, what do you think about that sort of person? When I ask for Sachi's thoughts as an extension of this little experiment, she pauses for a moment before replying. Her expression suddenly grown serious. I think that being selfish is a bad thing. A bad thing, eh? Yes. I've noticed before that Sachi's judgments tend to be delivered in simple black and white terms. In particular, she has something of a habit of dividing things between the good and the bad. I'd always thought of it as a minor quirk, but from the strange emphasis she places on those words, I'm beginning to think it might be a central part of her worldview. Well, I guess that's enough of a break. Let's get back to the tests. Certainly. Deciding to refocus on the reason we're here, I cut off our meandering conversation. Sachi responds by promptly turning her notebook to a fresh page of paper. Well then, what will be next? Shall I work my way secretly through another textbook like yesterday? No, I'm going to jump a few steps and start giving you problems from material we're not scheduled to learn in this school. What? No wonder they call you sadism incarnated, Kasami-san. Utterly ruthless even to your submissive younger classmates. Don't really have a choice. You're just that good. And now come the blatantly lavish compliments. With such masterful alternation between the carrot and the stick, I'm quickly reduced to a mere putty in your hands. Okay, that's more than enough of that. I'm giving you the problems now, alright? Yes.
As the scenery outside begins to take the orange tint of early twilight, Sachi's pen comes to a halt after the last problem of the day. Solved it? I reached an answer, but I'm not especially confident that it's correct. Haven't seen her this uncertain about a problem yet, but let's see. Picking up Sachi's notebook, I compare her work against the answer in the collection of problems. Well? It's correct. I'm very glad to hear that. Apparently Sachi's lack of confidence was genuine rather than an attempt at modesty, judging from the way she slumps back in her chair with a relieved smile. From the look of things, she might finally make her first mistake tomorrow. I must admit, I'm rather tired after all that mental exercise. In that case, let's take it easy for a while. I'll buy you something to drink. If possible. What? You want some soda in particular? Better say it now. No, that's not the nature of my request. Hesitantly mumbling vague words, Sachi doodled small circles on her notebook paper. I see, so that's what this is about. Taking an educated guess from Sachi's attitude, I gently bent my hand to rest on top of her head. You did good today, Sachi. And this time I begin to slowly stroke her hair back and forth. Sachi lets out a quiet sigh as her eye fall closed. Must have tickled a bit. You make the same face every time I do this, you know that? Reminds me of a kitten having its face cleaned by its mother. By which you mean I'm just that adorable? By which I mean you're just that defenseless. I suppose you're right about that. At the moment I think it's entirely possible I'd surrender unconditionally. To what? Alright, that about enough? Yes, thank you very much. I finally stop petting Sachi once my hand grows warm from the motion. She responds with a polite little bow of thanks. Kind of an odd request though. Not like having your head stroked is going to help with your fatigue, is it? That's not true at all. Your hand provides more of a boost than guzzling 10 energy drinks, Kasami-san. That a fact? Impressively forceful and earnest words, although I can't say that it makes them any less bizarre. But still, I've got to watch my step around this girl. Lately these little petting sessions have started to feel oddly pleasant on my end as well. Alright, so we're done with the testing for today. You have any other plans? Yes, I promised Maki-chan I'd watch television with her at 7 o'clock. In that case, let's get back to the door before she starts throwing a temper tantrum. Yes. Hey-o, Sachin! The instant we entered the door, Magna shouting in our faces, almost as if she foresaw the exact moment of our return. Huh? There's still some time before we are going to meet up, isn't there? Yep, this is something else entirely. Wanted to get this back to you. As she speaks, Magna holds something out to Sachi. Judging from this familiar strap feature and tuna fish man's art nemesis General Sparrows, the cell phone's yours, ain't it? Yes, it is, but where did you find it? Just a little while ago, I decided to take a dip before the dinner. Found this sucker pulling off a solo scuba diving expedition in the big bath upstairs. What do you know? Cell phones go diving as well? Or maybe you just dropped it when you were cleaning. What? You never cease to amaze me, Kasami-san. Your deductive reasoning would put Mr. Nakamura himself to shame. Who the hell is Mr. Nakamura? Putting aside that particular mystery, it's pretty surprising that Sachi didn't realize it was missing. Well, it's all good that I found it, but this thing's playing dead pretty stubborn-like. Going underwater is probably going to be fatal unless you have some special waterproof model. In that case, accepting her cell phone from Magna, Sachi gently slides it inside her clothing. Why'd you stuff it in between your boobies? Well, it broke because it got wet, so maybe warming it up will fix it. Just to be sure, that was an attempt at a joke, right? It ain't manly to say something here, you know. This slightly ditzy side of it is a big part of Sachi's charm. We got a responsibility to preserve it for future generations. I see. Alright, Sachi, forget I asked. For some reason, I feel as though my image is deteriorating rapidly behind my back. It's all good. It ain't slander if it's true. Is that so? I'm sure your image is important too, but I think you should be more worried about getting a replacement for that phone as soon as possible. Never know when you really need it. That's true. I'll have to visit a retailer at the first opportunity. With those words, Sachi retrieves the dead cell phone from her bosom and returns it to its usual place in her pocket.
Okay then, what you up to next, Ren? We ran into each other, and also, how about watching some TV with us?
Well, can't say I have any plans, but...
In that case, come cheer for Tuna Fish Man with us.
Tuna Fish Man is a Sunday morning show, right? More importantly, wouldn't it be kind of creepy if I really did start cheering on our fresh fish superheroes with you?
Very much so.
I'll peel you like a banana here and now, you bogus maid.
Oh dear, Maki-chan, my virtue appears to be in grave danger.
You sure as hell aren't acting like it.
Oh, what's this weird feeling swirling inside my deliciously flat chest? I don't really get it, but this might be what your average 46-year-old father feels like when his precious little poopsie gets carted off by some random bum with a tattoo on his bicep.
There's no such thing as a woman who hates being complimented. One day, when I casually complimented my master's appearance, she praised me in return with those words. From what she told me, the rule applies even to women who claim to dislike flattery. Sometimes complaining is just another way of reacting to happiness.
Gah, Yuuji.
Hello there, Michiru. Your famous twin trails are looking particularly good this morning.
What? Where's this coming from all of a sudden? It's not like a compliment from you is going to make me happy or anything.
Michiru, whose gimmick is a prickly Tsun attitude, may say this. But judging from the way she's happily playing with her hair as she skips up the stairs, I don't think my master spoke in error. I'm pretty sure I picked up a knack for this sort of thing unconsciously at a fairly young age. Playing outside for hours at a time to escape the awkward atmosphere at home, I developed a sly habit of ingratiating myself with the other kids through lavish praise.
Awesome, I can't believe you can do that, or you got 100 points on your test, that's amazing!
Or whatever else seemed called for. Looking back on it, I was kind of a creepy little brat in that respect. But as long as I kept up the compliments, nobody tried to harm me, and there were even some eccentrics who would actively play with an otherwise gloomy little introvert like me.
Okay, watch carefully, here goes. Hiya! Well, did I pull it off? Thanks. I don't think it's that amazing, but today's the first time I managed it. I wanted to show you first, Yukon.
Of course, since I'd always thought of myself as the worthless scrap left over after the formation of my genius sister, I was probably pretty sincere in believing everyone I met superior to me.
Good morning to you, Kasami-san.
Yep. And here we have an exemplary personification of my master's teaching. Given an open choice of any reward, Sachi specifically requested my praise. It's probably safe to say she fundamentally longs to be complimented.
So, do tell me, what variety of indecent disgraces Michiru am I enduring inside your mind at the moment?
I'd love to hear how you arrived at that question.
Well, as you watched her leave, you seemed to be thinking about something, and there was a rather complex expression on your face.
Let me get this straight. You think a complex expression on my face means I'm indulging in obscene delusions?
Yes.
And sometimes I wonder if she fundamentally longs to be smacked upside the head.
Not to change the subject, but will today's testing begin at 1 PM as well?
That's right. But like I said yesterday, no cramming for this one.
Yes, I was planning to continue yesterday's cleaning operation for the rest of the morning, so I wouldn't really have time to study in any case.
You're still making the rounds?
It's far more pleasant to find the places you use nice and clean after all.
With those words, Sachi pumps her fist slightly into the air, still clutching her broom. Maybe it's because she's able to wear this uniform more frequently during vacation, but the girl seems to be turning into even more of a maid by temperament. Well, devoting yourself to volunteer work is all well and good, but make sure you don't give yourself heat stroke out there.
Of course, in order to stave off overheating, I'll think about something nice and cool things as I work.
I think I'm going to have to check up on her later for safety's sake. A little before 1 PM, a harsh, familiar electronic buzz from my breast pocket interrupts the leisurely afternoon. JB, huh?
Is there anyone with you right now?
After a moment of faint electronic noise, I hear a low, steady voice on the other end of the line. Her tone is enough to tell me that this is a phone call from my superior, not my guardian. No worries, I'm by myself at the moment.
Good, we need to talk business.
Judging from the hurried way JB is speaking, it seems that this particular call may not have been planned in advance. Something serious might have come up unexpectedly. Do we have something troublesome on our hands?
This mission's going to be brief, but it's difficult to anticipate exactly how things will play out, so yes, you could call it troublesome.
In other words, you want me as insurance in case things go south.
Very perceptive. As an active reserve, you've been ordered to semi-alert status for the duration of this job. Can you be prepared within 10 minutes?
I'll be ready in 5.
Thank you, Yuuji.
Don't thank me before a job. It's bad luck.
Right, sorry about that.
Anyway, where do you need me?
Make your way to the location I'm sending over now. You'll meet up with your colleagues there.
Affirmative.
Placing the black cell phone on top of my desk, I quickly begin to change into my work clothes.
Well, that's crappy timing.
I don't have any problem with doing the job I'm paid for, but I had plans with Sachi in the immediate future. And I can't just call to let her know since her cell phone's out of commission.
Please be in the dorm.
What? I throw open my door with a little prayer, startling Sachi as she is sweeping the lobby.
Sachi, good timing.
Calm yourself, Kasami-san. If you need a freshly made uniform, just give me a moment and...
Sorry, I don't have time to play along with stupid jokes right now.
Is something the matter?
Yep, I just now got called to work. Important job came up out of nowhere.
Which would mean today's testing is cancelled, I suppose. As Sachi murmurs these words, there's a clear shade of regret on her face. It's one of the more easily comprehensible expressions I've ever seen on the normally poker-faced Sachi.
No, I'm not cancelling, but I need to change the plan a bit.
I hadn't been planning to say anything of the sort, but I find the words coming out of my mouth naturally. That look on her face probably had a lot to do with it. Would that really be alright?
Yep. JB said the job's going to be quick, so I should be back in a few hours.
Ah, I see. By all means then, that would be perfectly alright with me.
Alright, wait for me at the usual place, Sachi. Let's say 5 p.m.
In that case, I may be slightly late. Would that be alright?
Slightly late? You have some other plans for this afternoon? Fine by me. There's a possibility I'll be a little late myself, so don't worry about it.
Thank you very much. I'll be waiting in the usual place of approximately 5 p.m.
Yeah, that's a promise. I'll definitely make it.
Yes. After giving Sachi a quick pat on the head, I immediately rush out the front door. Eyes fixed on my cell phone screen, I follow the directions JB sent me to the letter. When specifying a rendezvous point through electronic means, the instructions are always split into multiple parts in such a way that it's impossible to determine the end location without cross-referencing every message. Apparently this is a security measure of some sort, but it's an incredible pain in the ass for the person actually receiving the orders. As I draw near to my initial destination, a second set of instructions arrives. The map attached to the new email bears a single red dot.
There we are.
Overlaying the map with a visual scan of my surroundings, I determined that the point in question indicates a small public park.
This isn't my first time in this neighborhood, but I never knew there was a park here.
I met that kid in a park not too different from this one, back in the days when I was a gloomy brat without any real friends. My sister was a prodigy, especially as an artist, and the most I could do was stay out of her way, so I made a daily routine of heading off to a public park with a playground located a few miles from my home. I went out of my way to choose one a good distance away, killed a little more time walking out and back, and better still, nobody there knew who I was. When I was idling around that playground, I didn't have to deal with people comparing me to my older sister, and I didn't have to listen to my father's vicious insults. I guess you could say it was the closest thing I had to a safe space. But the day spent playing with sand by myself didn't last that long. One day that girl marched right up to me. I don't remember much of the conversation except for the conclusion. Okay then, let's play together. Wasn't asking either. Without giving me time to think it over, she pulled me around that tiny park all day long. She was an unbelievably pushy kid, to be sure. Laughed and smiled more than anyone else I'd ever known. But she never asked me more about myself than I wanted to tell. In other words, playing with her wasn't too bad on my end either. Before I knew it, I was heading to that part specifically for that purpose. Of course, that only lasted a short while before that day came, but I think that kid was a major reason I was able to endure everything I was going through back then.
Okay, this really isn't the time to get all sentimental.
As if to reinforce the point, a white miniman with a subtly different atmosphere draws to a halt a little ways away.
Take care of the job first, think later.
Okay, here we are. Good job out there.
Sure. Roused from a half unconscious state by JB's voice, I remove my sleep mask and step out of the car. I appreciate you dropping me off at school and all, but I've got to say this car is a little too conspicuous, noisy on the top of flashy.
But that's exactly what I like about my little prancing horse.
Don't think I'll ever understand your sense of aesthetics.
Well, I guess she's probably not alone. I can picture Amana's eyes gleaming with enthusiasm.
Heaving a small sigh, I glance to my side where JB is currently peering through the gate into the school grounds. Looking for something in particular?
Well, just wondering if anyone was going to welcome you back today, you know?
Figured as much. Look, JB, I do understand the urge to mess around with the younger generation, but I'd really appreciate it if you could resist the impulse to make my life harder.
Oh, come on. Here I am, going out of my way to add a little spice to your love life, and this is the thanks I get?
If you're that concerned about my libido, how about you help me out?
Oh, scary. I best beat a hasty retreat before I fall prey to a stormy passions of youth. Giving me a little shove on the back as she passes by, JB slides smoothly back into the driver's seat of her car. Okay then, Yuuji, I'll see you when I see you.
Hold it, woman. Or not. JB really lives for these little visits, doesn't she?
But since you took me here directly, I'm back a good 15 minutes before 5. I'll be in plenty of time to meet up with Sachi.
No reason to show up in my work uniform then. Might as well change first.
When I arrive precisely on time, I find the classroom completely empty. Pretty unusual for Sachi, who makes a habit of showing up at the exact time specified.
Come to think of it, she did say she might be a little late. Guess I'll wait for a while. Okay, she's really late.
Half dozing in the chair I flopped down onto some time ago, I mumble to myself and glance up at the clock. It's a solid hour past the time we agreed to meet. At this point, you'd expect some sort of contact.
Might as well see if any of the others know anything.
Wahoo! An intruder! When I return to the door, Markin is standing by the shoe rack. The instant I push the door open, she swiftly hides something or other inside.
I'm not going to tell you not to play pranks on Michiru and Sakaki, but keep it in moderation, alright?
Everyone in this storm's repressed and forbidden desire to see Qa'Rajh and Yuuji completely flip out. And I'm just a wicked woman to give them what they truly want.
Right, sure. Fascinating. On a different note, do you know where Sachi went?
Swa? What are you talking about, Onchan? Weren't you guys playing today?
That was the plan, but I waited for an hour after the time we set and she never showed up.
That's freaking weird. You could bury Sachi in the Mariana Trench and she still wouldn't be late for her next appointment.
Right, which is why I thought something else might have come up.
I'd love to say something come to mind, but I didn't hear anything about like that.
Sure you didn't ask her for a favor or something?
I haven't even seen her today, you know?
I see. This doesn't look very promising, but just in case, I should try the other classmates as well. Sorry, Makina, but can you help me round up the others?
Aye, aye, Captain!
Fortunately, the other 3 were still in the dorm, so it doesn't take long to collect everyone in the lobby. Sorry about the sudden meeting, but do any of you have any idea where Sachi's gotten to?
Sachin? Now that you mention it, I haven't seen her at all this afternoon. Same for me.
How about you, Sakaki?
Actually, I did see Kumina-san leaving the dorm a little after 3. Seriously? Yes, she was in a school uniform, so I assumed she was heading off to study with Kasami-kun again. Was I mistaken?
Hard to say. We promised to meet in the classroom at 5, but Sachi never showed.
That's weird. As soon as the words leave my mouth, the 3 voices respond in an uneasy chorus. Apparently I'm not the only one more than a little surprised by Sachi blowing off a pre-arranged meeting. Hey, mind if I say something? After a moment of silence, Michiru raises her hand tentatively in the air.
What is it, Michiru? Some relevant information come to mind?
Not really information, but I think there's a way to clear this problem up right away, if you're interested.
Really? Nice job, Michiru.
Well, I don't think it's anything that special, but sort of a Michiru-style strategy, I guess.
I see. By all means, please share your insight with us.
Guess I will, since you asked so nicely. Spit it out already, Bottle Blonde. Bah! Oh, wow! The glare of death! Okay, look, I'm only going to say this once, so everyone grit your teeth and listen carefully.
What's gritting our teeth going to accomplish exactly?
Hear and be amazed. All we need to do is call Sachi on a cell phone. Problem solved. Well, pretty good stuff, right? What? Why is everybody giving me that for crying out loud look? Because that's exactly what we're all thinking. No way.
Please don't tell me that was the extent of your proposal, Matsushima-chan.
Well, yeah, I mean, what? Did I say something weird?
That's not the problem here. Wouldn't you take it as given that he tried that before gathering us here?
Ugh.
In the first place, Sachi's phone is out of commission at the moment.
Huh? Sachi's cell broke?
Yep, it was discovered diving in the bathtub just last night.
Indeed it was! Oh, well, no way I could have known about that.
Oh, poor Michiru. A weak attempt at a smile plastered awkwardly across her face, Michiru shrinks before her eyes. Well, as Michiru's ideas go, I guess that was a pretty decent train of thought.
It's alright, Amanda. I'm destined to be the unhappiest girl with twin tails in all of Mishima Cape.
That's a rather narrow field of competition.
Hey, don't let it get you down, Chiro. Life ain't all bad, right? Weird, being confronted by you somehow makes me feel even worse. Rank ingratitude! See if I ever offer you such sincere half-assed attempt at kindness again!
Maybe it was a mistake to bring these people into the discussion in the first place. Anyway, isn't this kind of bad? We don't have any way of getting in touch with Sachi, do we?
Maybe we should contact the police or something.
It may seem like a serious situation to us, but the police aren't going to start looking for someone who's only been gone a few hours. And even putting that aside, Kumina-san isn't a child. Contacting the police at this stage would be a bit of an overreaction, don't you think? She did tell me she might be late, for one thing. In that case, all the more so. Nodding with evident conviction, Sakaki closes her eyes. Objectively speaking, her argument is definitely reasonable. I guess Sakaki-san's probably right about this one. Michiru and Makina seem to reach the same conclusion. The group looks silently in my direction, anticipating a decision. Okay, let's wait and see for the moment. If Sachi still isn't back by this evening, I'll get in touch with the principal and ask her about the next step. Yeah, I think that's the best approach.
I'm with you there. Yeah, me too.
Alright then. Okay, I'm going to head back to the classroom and try waiting for Sachi there, but I'd like a volunteer to contact me in case she comes back to the dorm instead.
Leave that to me.
I'll stick around with Makina as well. I'm kind of worried about Sachi.
In that case, Yumiko and I can go search around for her outside.
Excuse me, I don't remember agreeing to this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were planning to go off looking for her on your own anyway.
Well, since these four have spent considerably more time living with Sachi, there's no question that they understand her better than I do. Considering that, there's no reason to refuse the help, even when it's voluntarily offered. Sorry for the hassle, I appreciate this.
Ain't no thing. Make sure to steadfastly carry out your own mission, Unshin.
Yeah. This late already? Before I know it, the hour's hand crept past 9. Still no sign of Sachi and no word from the others. This is getting beyond weird and into worrisome territory. Yuuji? When I return to the dorm, Amane and Makina jump up from their positions watching the doorway and rush over.
Well, what's the deal? Did Sachi come back?
No, she didn't come to the classroom at least. Oh. Their shoulders droop simultaneously at the news.
I looked up and down the shopping district, but there was no sign of her.
I didn't see anyone resembling her around the station either. Beads of sweat running down their foreheads, Michiru and Sakaki offer similar reports in identical tones of regret and concern. I see. Sorry to make you run around in this heat.
Don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm doing this for your sake. I'm just worried about Sachi. Hey, how was that? Pretty good, right, Yumiko?
I hope you don't really expect me to answer that question. Okay, Michiru's skill as a tsundere is not really that important right now. At this point, the odds that Sachi's really gone missing feels a lot higher.
Think it's time to talk it over with Chizu?
Yeah, you're right. Taking out my cell phone, I dial the principal's private number from memory. Hello? It's me. Sorry to call so late. You're calling my cell phone? Is something wrong? To summarize matters concisely, Sachi's gone missing. Kumine-san, of all people? Yeah, we made pretty clear plans, but she stood me up. Hasn't come back to the dorm since. Kumine-san broke a promise? There's a slight hint of tension in the principal's voice now. Apparently we're not the only ones surprised by the idea of Sachi blowing off an appointment like this. Okay, exactly how long has she been missing? Last time anyone saw her would be a good 6 hours ago, and unfortunately she doesn't have a cell phone on her at the moment. I see. Without a way of contacting her, this gets considerably more difficult. That would be why I'm reporting to you. As the principal of this school, what do you think we should do about this? Let's see. After this brief response, there's a moment of silence. First of all, I'm going to inform Kumine-san's family of the circumstances and get an idea of how they'd like to handle this. Seems like a bit of a leisurely approach, frankly. It may be somewhat unusual, but this school is an officially sanctioned educational institution operating under the same regulation as any other. I can't change the procedure for this sort of thing. Right. Well, unquestionably with the correct judgment as the leader of our organization. That said, I share your concerns, so I'm also going to take the more immediate actions as an individual, you understand. Ah, so that's it. Considering how rapidly she formulated this calm and rational approach to the situation, it's probably safe to trust Chizuru's judgment on the specific details. Guess you're not sitting in the most comfortable chair in the building for nothing. Hehe, nice to hear, I suppose. Okay, I understand what you're thinking in general, but what should we be doing right now? Honestly, I'd like you to wait patiently for me to settle things, but I imagine that's not going to happen. You imagine correctly. Good job. Putting aside all the rest, I am a teacher entrusted with 6 students, you know. That you are. That said, I don't want anyone other than you running around outside them in the middle of the night. Please make that very clear to them. Right, that's probably wise. Reckless action would very well end up expanding the scale of that problem. Okay then, I'll let you know immediately when I have my news. Yeah, please do. Cutting off the call immediately, I slide my phone shut and push it back into my pocket. What'd she say, Yuuji? She's going to get in touch with Sachi's family first and talk with the guardians about to proceed. Oh, well, I kind of figured it would be something like that. Yep. After all, there must be some relatively complicated family circumstances involved if they're sending their child to this kind of school. She promised to get in touch immediately if there's any major development. In other words, she's asking us to sit on our hands. More or less. Why the heck would we do that? We should be out pounding the pavement and search for Sachi. I'll handle that. Why just you, Oni-chan? Because if we went out looking for Kumine-san right now, there's a possibility it would give rise to a secondary disaster. Secondary disaster? What's that supposed to mean? It means that young women wandering around alone in the middle of the night could very well go missing themselves. Ah, right. You have a point. No need to worry about that. I've got all that super self-defense you taught me, Oni-chan. Sorry, not good enough. Gah! I don't want to sit around waiting. I'm worried about Sachi. Magna's voice is unusually fraught with emotion, and small tears of frustration are forming in the corners of her eyes. She's the same age as Sachi and plays with her more than anyone else. Magna might well be the most upset out of all of us right now. Hey Magna, I understand how you feel, but let's leave that to Yuuji for now, okay? Sachi might come back while he's out looking too. We need to be here to hold down the fort. Yeah, I got it. Clinging tightly to her man from behind, Magna slowly begins to regain her composure. As long as these two are together, I probably don't have to worry about her doing anything reckless. Okay, I'm going to head out and look for Sachi. You be careful of yourself, alright? There's a lot of weird people out there these days. Right. Answering Michio's anxious words with a nod, I walk up to Sakaki, who's been standing a little apart from the rest of the group. Giving her a light tap on the shoulder, I lean in and speak in a low voice. Sakaki, if something comes up while I'm gone, I want you to take charge. Why should I have to? Because I trust your judgment in a crisis. If Amane and Michio lose their heads trying to do something reckless, I'm depending on you to step in and stop them. You do have a talent for playing dirty. Yep, sorry about that. Taking note of the slight redness in Sakaki's cheeks, I leave the dorm at a run, silently thanking my master for her insight. Alright, first problem is, where do I start? I don't know why Sachi vanished, or where she went this afternoon. I effectively got nothing in the way of specific clues to work on. Given that, my only real option is to speculate based off her normal pattern of activity, but I'm no expert there. Might as well take another look in the classroom.
After a brisk journey to the school building, I peek into a classroom, my heart's pounding more from tension than the exercise. It's silent, dark, and totally empty.
Not here after all.
But still, there's always the possibility that Sachi will wander in here while I'm out looking for her. To protect against the risk that we'll pass each other by, I should probably leave her a message of some sort. Grabbing a thick piece of paper from a supply closet, I write, "Sachi, if you see this, head back to the dorm right away. Large letters with permanent marker." That done, I secure the note in the middle of the blackboard with a few pieces of tape.
That should do it.
A moment later, my personal cell phone rings shrilly in my pocket.
That you, Chizuru?
Yes, it is. I've just finished talking with Kumina's guardians, so I thought I should give you an update.
And?
If possible, they'd like to avoid making this into a conspicuous public spectacle, but ultimately they're leaving the decisions to the Academy.
I see.
From the sound of it, Sachi's family does indeed have some complicated circumstances of their own.
So, what's the next step for you?
First of all, I'm going to contact every police station in the prefecture one by one and see if any are currently sheltering a young girl.
I see. Same thing you pulled when I arrived here.
Yes, the student body of this academy is rather famous for a number of reasons. The conversation should go relatively smoothly.
Good to hear, I think.
If that doesn't get us any result, I suppose we will have to formally report her as a missing person.
Right.
Hypothetically speaking, if Sachi left the prefecture, a larger scale effort involving sheer numbers and brute power would become necessary. Do you intend to look for Kumine-san during that time?
I'm the one who promised to meet up with her. I've got a responsibility to find out what happened.
I suppose. Alright then, I'll be in touch as soon as I have further news.
Appreciate it. Hopefully that'll get us some information.
On the other hand, if she comes up empty, we run smack into a demoralizing dead end. Unless, of course, I find a new lead first. For now, that's all I need to be thinking about.
Alright, guess I'll see if the others have any ideas about places Sachi frequents.
This tension reminds me of the job, but unlike those neatly defined missions, it's a frustrating hunt in the dark, groping blindlessly for clues. And this time, I'm not chasing down some faceless target I'll never know. The person I'm searching for is a classmate, a friend. Pressing the cell phone to my ear, I sprint down the hallway, trying to drown out my uneasiness through mindless motion. And that's where we'll end this episode. A bit on the cliffhanger, but, well, we shall see what happens in the next episode.